Okay, we are so camera ready, like dewy, glowy,
We have
bronzy.
the Saie signature glow.
We have this.
Yeah.
I'm like your diehard since day one, Laney.
So I was just telling someone a story. So first of all, it feels like just sitting down with a friend, which is like the best podcast ever when you have that feeling. I love you so much.
Thank you.
So I think at the time, we launched November 2019. I was sitting on the couch in our Brooklyn apartment, and this was at the time when obviously the brand had just launched. So I had Shopify on my phone, and I saw every single purchase that came through Shopify. And you posted about us, and it was like this instant spike. And I just sat there for like hours watching all the orders come in because it was so exciting. You know, like we hadn't launched at Sephora yet. So we were we were like this little baby brand. That was probably, December 2019.
Oh, you never told me that story. I mean, you have, but like never to the detail
No,
like that.
I remember my husband sitting there being like, this is so exciting because when you can see it happening in real time, it's different. You know, like now the brand is so big, I don't have that, closeness to, with Sephora, you get sales once a week.
Right.
And I, for mental health reasons, had to take Shopify off my phone.
Right. It can get a little like just being so locked into data. That for me too, as the founder, like it's just best that we have our meeting and our touch base, and I'm not just like living on a dashboard.
Well, because it becomes dopamine hits, and then if let's say you're having a bad day, all of a sudden, a bad day of sales, all of a sudden you're having a bad day.
Right. It's a reflection of your worth. Like I take it so personally too.
It's not the healthiest.
It's not. I mean, I first of all just can't even. I can believe what Saie has become because you have been so intentional from the beginning, from inception. Like I remember when you first started, and you've taken it so steady, like step by step. Like, I mean, when you first launched, did you have one hero product?
We had, it's so funny. The only product that still remains from launch is Mascara 101.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was this really curated edit of everything you needed. It was a brow butter that didn't make your brows crunchy and tinted your brows like ever so slightly with this really micro brush. It was this lip balm that the tagline was not quite a gloss, more than a balm, something like that. And then we had Mascara 101 and a lash curler. And that it was kind of my pitch was like, this is all you need. And we were always about that no makeup, your skin but better, nourishing your skin. It sounds so simple, but what if your makeup were to make your skin better? And that was always my dream.
It does make your skin better. And I mean, I feel as if like in this clean beauty, non-toxic world that has really evolved. Thank God, right? But you like Saie and you and your team have really been on the forefront of this. And what I've learned, and I'm continuing to learn, is like a lot of people use these terms like, this is clean, and then there's fragrance in it. And you're like, hold on a second, and just there's a lot of terms that people use that are
because it's unregulated.
How it's okay, right? Like the fact that it's unregulated is just wild. But can you tell me like why Saie, like what makes Saie really stand out? Because it does.
Yeah.
But in the clean beauty, non-toxic world.
Well, first of all, remember I came from big beauty. So that was definitely a big part of my equation was like, I'm going to bring all of that expertise. I had worked in editorial, and then I worked at Estee Lauder, and I had been there for 5 years, and I'd really been learning from the best of the best. And it was like this immersive, I got my MBA there because it was incredible. It was like, especially because I was working in the social department, which when I got there, they didn't even know it. They were like, hi. And I was like, hi. And they're like, I was like, okay, like what should I do? And they're like, oh no, we need you to tell us what to do. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I kind of had my own little startup there. And so I got to work with all these different brands and different departments. And so bringing all of that expertise to clean hadn't been done before. And that was a big part of what my goal was to like, let's have clean makeup. Let's have makeup that is really, truly nourishing and good for your skin. Be at that level. And I'm such a makeup fashion girly. Like, I want butterflies. And that was my goal with Saie, was like, I want every aspect of Saie to give you butterflies, from the way the texture feels on your skin, to the packaging, to what you're seeing on social, to the look that you get after you've done your makeup. And then like ultimately even taking that a step further of like, how does it feel in your heart? You know, like, how does the brand resonate with your values? How does it make your skin feel? Like, I've used incredible products before that looked great and then they broke me out.
Right. Same.
So when I talk about makeup that makes you feel good, I meant that from a total 360 way.
It's so felt. I don't know if you know this, but when I first moved to New York, I worked at a beauty counter.
I don't think I knew that.
And I have been like, I've always been the one in my friend group and like with my sisters. I love makeup.
That's why you're so good at your own makeup, because you do your own glam, right?
I did my own glam today. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have it done, but for this, I do it
your
myself.
Makeup looks amazing.
Thank you. It's all Saie, honey.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
From the slip cover to the highlight to the blush.
Hold on.
And I'm not just saying
that means that Melissa's an OG.
I am an OG.
Because slip cover was the name that we launched it with.
I still call it that.
And it was the name of another product, like an obscure little teeny tiny product. And they were like,
after you.
They're like, you need to change your name. So we changed it to Slip Tint. But the fact that you call it slip cover is like down memory lane.
Okay, when I share it, I'll make sure I'm a 4 in the summer and I'm a 3.5 in the winter, and I mix them as I transition.
Like
I always
in between.
You know, I just like to and then I blend the bronzing.
You're really good at makeup.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's very much, I think, the Saie look, which is just that no makeup, your skin but better, beautiful color.
Thank you. I mean, the first job I ever had was at a makeup counter in Sears. And then I worked at the Chanel counter. And then that's how I moved to New York. I worked at a beauty counter. So I'm a beauty junkie. I love products. But going back to exactly what you said, I was using all the high-end brands and I was covered in cystic acne. So I had to really go under the hood of why I was breaking out. It was a lot of emotional, nervous system regulation. But a huge step in clearing it was completely revamping my products down to the laundry detergent that I was using to sleep on, have my face on my pillowcase all night. And then all of my beauty products, I like slowly revamped them all. And my skin, like, people never believed that I was covered in cystic acne, but it's like, I know that the reason why my skin has really done like a complete 360 is because of committing and meditating and using non-toxic beauty.
Totally. I mean, that things are all intertwined, but you know that I'm the same way. So I had really bad cystic acne.
Really?
And there was actually one specific product that I used that kind of unlocked that for me. It was a foundation stick from one of those high-end brands.
Yeah.
And I bought it because I wanted a little bit higher coverage. I was, and to cover acne. And the more I used it, the more acne I got. And I finally was able to put the 2 and 2 together. And then I went and looked at the ingredients and I was like, oh, okay, this ingredient my skin really doesn't get along with, dimethicone. So that's why we don't formulate with any silicones. They are forever chemicals. So when you have a foundation that's full of silicones and you wash your face, that all goes down the drain and never goes away. So that's one reason not to use any products with silicones. But another reason is because they're comedogenic. And all of our products are non-comedogenic, dermatologist tested.
When you started, Saie, I always think it's so important for people to really look out for things that they're using, like ingredients that you do want to avoid. I mean, I think about just like parabens and fragrance and things. Like, what are things that you think are like the most important?
I think that, and this is something I really pride Saie on, is like never fear mongering, because I also think like mentally, like you can get so obsessed with stuff that then it can have the opposite effect. But I always just equate it to food, which I feel like resonates with you, of like, when you eat better, you feel better.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with skin. Like when I use products that are better for sensitive skin, that are cleaner, that are non-comedogenic, dermatologist tested, my skin reacts better.
Yeah.
And so like there are so many ingredients. We have many, many, many ingredients that we formulate without that could maybe not irritate your skin.
Yeah.
But maybe they could. And I have really sensitive skin. So we just formulate everything for the most sensitive skin, knowing that then anyone can use them. I always just think about it like that with food. And like, like there's sometimes I'll get my makeup done and I don't know what products they're using. And like, that's okay. Like it's once in a while. My skin is so sensitive that I actually have to be really careful with that, because I can break out just from one thing. But, it's like with food, like 80-20.
Right. I love that. I love that you are a founder and you're so passionate about your brand, but you have that approach. It's really, it just feels so, first of all, it's like it takes the weight off you of feeling like everything has to be like super clean and it has to, like you can't have this ingredient at all. I'm very much that person too, because I definitely prefer, I prefer non-toxic, I prefer clean, but if I'm getting my makeup done, I'm like, okay.
Like
and
you want the makeup artist to do what they want to, like, with, like YOLO.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Do you get Botox? Can I ask you that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. So it
actually really helps me with headaches.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in this dance where I've gotten Botox and now like it's been a really long run without it. And I'm like,
and no, you look great.
But it's like this, thank you. Face taping really works. Gua shawing, I do all that stuff. But I do think it has to be this acceptance for yourself. Like if I choose to make an appointment and get it, like it doesn't have to all be so perfect. And I think that that's always something that I'm working on, just letting go and letting it be, like doing what I feel like I want to do and not feeling bad about it. So it's just, honestly, it's really so beautiful to hear you say that.
For me, it happened with kids though.
Of course.
Because, I used to for me, what I struggle with is my meditation practice, because for me, that just completely went out the door when I had kids and started Saie. I feel like I have 3 kids and a lot of times I spend the most amount of time with Saie, and that in itself causes a lot of stress for me. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can't fit in my meditation, but when can I? When can I journal? When can I just check in with myself? Like you kind of find your little ways around stuff, I find. And then also you just have to like let go.
Yeah. I mean, you just experienced that with me, like showing up. I mean, I can run, a little late, but I was dealing with something that it's so easy to let things kind of completely throw you off. And I shared this in a story and I want you to watch it because I said, listen, I have a meditation practice that I'm very devoted to, and I meditated today. But I think the most important thing about a practice is being able to bring it to your life. And like in the car, I did just like 2 inhales through my nose and then exhaled out through my nose. And I feel like it really is this reminder that like we can bring it into like those tough moments when life is feeling chaotic. And like it doesn't always have to look a certain way, right? It doesn't have to be like sitting and closing your eyes. And I mean, I definitely know that I feel the most regulated when I do that, but it is, I think, being able to like in this moment, like I was doing the breaths before this and to bring it into, because like life is chaotic.
Life is chaotic. And I feel like when you have a business and you have kids, like it's just, you just try to get through the day, at least in my world.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. I mean, I do feel that taking those like micro moments and carving out a little space, like it does make you feel like you're with it instead of feeling swallowed. But like I'm having a swallowed day myself over here. And it's all a part of it, and I think accepting it and also just like owning where I am, like, um, I- as an entrepreneur and the founder, like there is just so much pressure.
Yeah.
And to watch you go from having like a product to 2 products to 3 products, like your intentional build has been so like, it's never felt like too much ever. And the way that you have introduced each product, like tell me how you go from starting to where the business has grown now, because it's so big.
I know, it's so big.
It's
Isn't it
so
wild?
big.
And what's so crazy is we just were working on our 5-year plan. It's like just the beginning, which is so like wild when you think like that. And I think it's so, and I know because you and I can connect in this way, but it is such a good reminder that you sometimes like can't even see something that's like right in front of you. And like to me, that was a really like interesting, like, oh, actually, like we're just at the very beginning.
Oof.
Which is like when you can shift your mind like that, it's really wild. But I appreciate you saying that about the products because I'm such a product girl and I'm such a consumer that I've always just tried to look through that lens of like, well, what would I want if I was a consumer? Like not just the product, but like how would I want to be spoken to? How would I want to be communicated with? How would I want to feel on the receiving end of that? That makes you feel good. One of our taglines is feel good, do good. And I'm always thinking about like, what would make you feel good as a consumer? Like whether that's an Instagram caption or the tagline for a product or the model that we're choosing or the way we're editing a video, like every single aspect is kind of through that lens of like, if I'm the consumer, how am I feeling when I'm receiving this communication? Whether that's like a product launch or also like with what's happening in the world right now. Like that's a big part of like how we communicate with our community too, because we're all experiencing what's happening right now. And so like when Roe vs. Wade was overturned, we started the largest abortion rights campaign the beauty industry has ever had. And that was just honestly because I knew that resonated with me as a consumer and I knew that it resonated with our community. Beauty is such an interesting industry because, and I feel like similar for you, we're an industry started by, led by, profiting from women. So we're always thinking about that of like, we're an industry started by, led by, profiting from women. So how am I making that woman walking down the street feel great?
That's
in every way.
It's so important and just so mindful to bring all of that forward into not just, like pushing a product, which I think you see it sometimes in business and in this industry. It's like it becomes so focused on that, but to remember.
And I feel that pull sometimes. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we'll just really we'll be writing the copy about something and it'll just feel like too salesy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was never about that for us. And like for us just to stay true to who we are, why we started. And it's funny, like we're 5 years old, but we are still like such a baby company. So we have like our team we're able to communicate with each other really quickly and be like, oh wait, how is that feeling? Okay, let's tweak that. Let's like make sure that feels right with us and for our community.
What is the size of your team? Can I ask?
So like 60.
What is it?
60.
Okay. I feel like I remember when it was like
2.
Like I was like, I feel like you could count them all on one hand.
Oh yeah.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
What is your involvement? It sounds like you're
super
very
involved.
hands-on.
Yes. I mean, I'm still the founder, CEO. And I've tried different things. And for me, like this is where it makes the most sense and where I'm the happiest of like, I love especially being part of product development and social and influencer and copy. But I also really love the business side, if I'm honest. Like to me, that's been such a fascinating discovery for myself of like what really excites me and interests me. And I love learning. I love, there's certain things like, no, you know what? Excel is not something I'm really good at. So no, I don't live in Excel, but I think that's okay. And I think as a leader, you can always just surround yourself by experts and people who are excellent at something that you're not. And that doesn't take anything away from you being an excellent leader.
I couldn't agree more. But it sounds like, and I feel like we spoke about this over the summer, as someone who thought about replacing my, not, I don't want to say replace myself because you can't do that when your face is the brand, but having someone step in as CEO. And I've definitely thought about it, but what I've learned is it's my baby. So it's just like a feeling, that I have that translates into everything that I do. But what I've learned, like maintaining this seat, is to gain as much knowledge about every area of the business that I can so that I have an understanding. I don't need to be the expert in it, but to have like a really strong pulse on the business, on what moves the needle, what doesn't. And it sounds like for you too.
I think it's so easy to be subject to imposter syndrome of like, oh, well, I didn't study that, or I didn't get that degree or whatever. And then I think as you go through the motions, you realize like, oh, there is no one else that's more of an expert in this than me when you're the founder.
It's so true. And it's very empowering. But it's also so much pressure.
That's where the meditation comes in.
It really does come in. And that's why it's just like an absolute must. But how do you deal with that?
I have my toolbox. I would say
please give us.
Walks is something that's like really major for me. Like if I can go for an hour walk every day, or if I start feeling disconnected, I'm always like, wait, I just need to go for a walk. It like clears my mind. It's where I do my best thinking. I think movement is my medicine. And when I remind myself of that, like everything always goes back into place. I started running again and I'd been feeling so anxious. And I was just like, what is going on? And I was like, I need to go for a run. That's the problem. Yeah. Actually, I had been doing like a lot of exercise, but I hadn't been like sweating. I hadn't been moving my body in that way. And I just needed to like move my chi. So movement for sure, number one. Number two, I love journaling. If I'm really struck, I'll journal. And I have these wild journal entries. Like I found one that I was pregnant with Isabella and I wrote, today's my due date. This baby is not coming. I think I'm going to work on my business plan. That was my whole journal entry.
Wow.
And that was when I started working on Saie.
Where did you get the pull
to start Saie?
Yeah, like
so I was on Prince between Worcester and Green, and I had started The Moment, my blog. I don't know if you remember it.
I do.
It was really like niche, but really special, and it was just honestly a place for a creative outlet.
It was chic,
and it was like really talking about everything, meditation, nutrition. And then it became heavily focused on beauty because that was what my community was like really asking for. And I had people sending me products the day the blog launched. Like that's how at the time, like new the clean makeup movement was. And so I had a beauty closet in my apartment. It was under the TV. And I remember like the moment it happened, it was like a true aha moment. I opened the beauty closet. I was going out to dinner and I wanted some makeup. And every bin was overflowing. It was like those little plastic bins from the Container Store that I had labeled like skin. There were two bins for skin, hair, ingestibles, bath. And the final one was makeup. And it was like empty. So it was this very, very visual, everything's overflowing except for color. And so I went on Instagram stories after dinner. I was like walking, looking back, I'm like, was that safe? I was like on my phone through Washington Square Park, Instagram storying my community, like, well, what do you use? Why is there no clean makeup? What would you make if you could make something? And we just stayed up until like 2:00 in the morning, like messaging with these people. I have no idea who they are about clean makeup and why there wasn't anything that was really performed and that was exciting and that was their go-to. And it was like, I always talk about this quote from the founder of Soul Cycle. She's like, it's like you get a call from the universe.
Yeah.
And you're like, hello? And they're like, here you go. And you can either answer it or not.
Yes.
And for me in that moment, it was a very clear, like, I am the person to do this.
Wow. Oof. I remember my call. And it's pretty loud. And it is persistent too. If you allow
it
yourself.
Did take me a while from that moment because I was pregnant to then, because then I did the journal. started working on the business plan. And then, motherhood rocked my world.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a good 3 or 4 months after having Isabella to be able to even like think clearly again and start working on it and figuring out like, what does a business plan look like? Who's the team I'm putting together with this? How do I raise money? I'd never raised money before.
Right. So that was my question to you. Like, how did you start? Like, it sounds like you created a business plan and you did raise money.
I mean, everything was cobbled together. Like I look back on it and I'm like, I was a classic first-time founder. Like I called in a lot of favors. I asked a lot of questions. My mantra was like, just get up one more day and put one foot after the next.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I did. And I, literally was like Googling like how to make a pitch deck and copying things I saw on the internet.
That's so good.
And asking my friends who worked in venture, like, what do you want to see in a pitch deck? And what is a P&L? I don't even know if I'd ever even heard that word before.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had never heard any of the fundraising. Have you fundraised?
No, I never.
So I had never heard any of the fundraising terms. A convertible note, a safe. I mean, what? It was like learning a new language.
Yeah. No, I did bring in just a small group of minority investors, but it was like totally non-traditional way. But even with you saying, but by the way, I bought them out. Like I no longer have investors just because I found it took away from just like my creative flow and doing things from here instead of just from strategy. I felt a really big disconnect creatively and I had to dive super deep on that. And it was really hard to undo, to be honest with you, because
they say everyone says like, be really careful about who you bring on as investor because it's like getting married.
Yeah. And by the way, they were all amazing.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with anything with them. They were all so cool. It was just like an energetic feeling for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is the most important thing for me. And if something feels completely misaligned in my body and my soul, it rocks everything that I do. So I had to like really look inside that, which was
complicated.
Such a difficult, complicated process. I had so much shame and so much guilt. And then I was like, no, I'm so happy that I did this because, well, now I know that it just feels more authentic for me to not feel as if like, if things are down or it just made me feel very disrupted. Like I felt like I started to feel like I performing enough and like that I'm so competitive and it just brought me out of the reason why I'm
competitive too.
Do this.
I know that. And you have to really like check yourself when that competitiveness is good or if it's destructive.
It was super destructive because I had taken money from people and all I could think about the whole time was I have to pay them back. Like it just, and by the way, it would have been totally fine. Like all of these people, but it was just like an energy suck for me. And I felt a big lift after and a big opening, which completely changed everything for me. But even with you saying like, oh, I just like sat with my team and we did a 5-year plan. I'm like, oh shit, man. Like, I don't even know what we're doing. Like, actually, no, we're getting a few months ahead, but like, I'm being dead serious with you. Like, I'm like, what does that even look like? Please advise. Please help. Like, how are you planning 5 years ahead? What does it even look like?
Our businesses are so different.
Yes.
Like, we're exclusive at Sephora.
Yeah.
They have been the most incredible partners to us. So for, now it's time to look outside the US.
Yes.
And so, it kind of actually lays itself out pretty easily when you start going by region,
okay.
Which is totally different than your business.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I just love to know like what goes into that.
A lot of planning.
Yeah.
But I hired a C-suite. So we have I have an amazing team and my CFO spent a lot of time the whole team did,
Yeah.
on what that 5-year plan looks like. And it's just a guide. Like, it's obviously like just
Yeah.
your best guess of what that'll look like. But it is really exciting for me. I just got back from Milan and met with the Sephora team there, and they were like, the searches for Saie are like just skyrocketing. Everybody wants you here. Every single day someone comes in the store asking for Saie. So I'm like so excited to be able to, and this has been a long time, right? That like the international community has been asking for Saie. So when the time is right, I'm really, really excited about that.
That is so exciting.
And I lived in Paris when I was growing up. So
No, I
the
didn't.
idea of bringing Saie to Paris like makes me teary-eyed because it just feels like so 360. And you like look back, and my mom was in the Foreign Service. So we lived in Paris when I was growing up. And I was so lost, like my parents had put me in French school. I didn't speak French.
Do you now?
You're middle school. Middle school's hard for anyone. Like I look back on that time, and it was amazing because I lived in Europe and my parents were so incredible about traveling and everything. But it was really hard. It's really hard to travel as a kid and move around a lot as a kid.
That is really hard. You do have this, I don't even want to say toughness, but this like very solid strength about you.
That's nice to hear. I think about resilience a lot. I think about it for my kids a lot of like, how am I instilling resilience in my kids? Because I think that is the number one thing as parents to do, is to help your kids be resilient. And becoming a parent with all of the social media around, and you're seeing all of these parenting posts, and they're telling you that you have to sleep with your kids and you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's very distracting as a parent, when really at the end of the day, like that is what we're here to do as parents. And it's not to keep them from hearing somebody say something mean about them at school. It's helping them be able to, how do they process that? How are they a strong being afterwards? And my parents instilled a lot of resilience in me. I also think sports instilled a lot of resilience in me. And I think about that a lot with my kids with sports, of just, you're not the best on the team, but you still go to practice every day.
Oh, that's good.
You don't skip practice just because you don't feel good.
That's so good. And
I never missed practice, not once.
Wow. That's great. I feel like with one of my children, I don't want to call them out, but if they decide they don't want to go, and I'm like, oh no, like you signed up for this.
Yep.
I actually last week, one was like, I don't want to go. And I was having a day, and I'm like, yeah. And then Noah called me. He's like, no, we committed to this. And I was like, you're right. I'm so sorry. I don't know why. I'm just like having an overwhelming day.
Because it's so much easier as a parent to be like, don't go. I don't want to fight with you. I'm exhausted. Let's just stay home. That sounds great.
Yeah.
When no, it's about showing up, and it's about having that strength, because it gets you through whatever, whether or not you want to be an entrepreneur or not. But right. I credit all of my strength as an entrepreneur to sports and my parents and what they instilled in me.
So do you think teaching your kids how to be resilient is like having them show up and do the thing even when they don't want to?
I think so. I mean, I think it's a lot. I think being resilient is a lot of things, but I think it's independence, and that's a really hard one for us as parents now with social media and like how many scary things we see on the internet. Like I have recently started letting my daughter ride her bike in the neighborhood by herself, because I read about that with Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation. I thought my heart was going to break just letting her ride her bike down the street. It's you really have to like put yourself out there. But then I think back to my parents. I took myself to school in Paris as a 12-year-old all the way across the city. I don't even think my parents had any idea what I was doing until dinner time.
Same.
I would,
or beyond.
Right? You think back to that and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so different now.
Yeah. You live in the suburbs.
Yeah. We moved out of the city March 2020. Didn't know if that was a 2-week thing, or actually, I'm positive we only thought that was a 2-week thing.
Same.
And we decided to stay because we love that life, like being in nature. Honestly, looking back, I don't know if I was ever a New York girl like that. Like I always was missing nature and being outside and having that kind of lower frequency. I love coming into the city. I'm like, we're back, baby, every single time I get here. And then after a day or two, I'm like, okay, I'm like really ready to like go back to that lower frequency.
That's nice. Do you feel like shifting environments helped support you with the business?
Oh my gosh, it's such a good question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
When I look back on that, I have no idea.
That's when I remember a shift in you.
Mm.
You had an event and it was like there was just something different. Like I felt like you were really owning everything that you were doing because, I know for myself in the beginning, it's very like, well, I'm like doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like very, it's like so, it feels uncertain, but you have so much certainty.
I feel like I have completely, well, two things. I think one, I'm a different person now than I was before I started Saie. And I don't mean that in a weird way. I mean that in a, like, I've come into myself. Like I remember it was so hard because COVID hit 4 months after I started Saie. I had just raised enough money to like get me through launch. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, oh, the business is done for. I'm not in the city. I have no contact with my team. I have no idea if people are going to be buying makeup because we're all inside. We're running out of cash. And I remember feeling like I stepped from the dark into the light. And that was like me stepping into my power of like, oh, like I got this. I can do this. And I'm certain of that.
How do you still do that every day? Because as it gets bigger, so do challenges.
I have to think about my answer to that. I think a lot of it's become second nature. I mean, I feel like I've had so many really tough moments. And when every single time you go through a tough moment, you come out stronger. Just like when you think about your kids.
Yeah.
And you don't want your kids to go through a tough moment. And then when you think about it through that lens, you're like, oh, you didn't get the part? Good. You're stronger now. And it's like, that's how it was with Saie. I mean, I fundraised, which was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, that first fundraise. 4%, if we're generous, go to female founders. 4% of VC dollars go to female founders. It was so hard to raise money for a clean makeup brand when clean makeup wasn't even really a word at that point. Then I went through COVID. And when you think about COVID, you're like, oh, COVID, okay, as a brand owner, that meant you couldn't even get products. Remember, all of those ships were just sitting outside the ports because there was nobody to take the products off the ports. There was a lot of things that happened that year. The Me Too movement, for example, so disruptive. We've gone through elections. It has been so many ups and downs. And then I didn't get into Sephora right away.
Really?
I got an email the day after the article in WWD went live saying that the brand was launching. And I had many meetings. I went to Sephora, I went to San Francisco a bunch of times. And then ultimately they were like, you're not ready. And they were right. But at the time, it felt like the worst rejection I'd ever gotten. And I then took another 8 months to finally get in and get into Sephora.
How did you do that? By bringing on more products?
Well, yes, we had the Glowy Super Gel launch, the one I just put on your legs. And that product did really well immediately. We had support from influencers like you who that means so much to a brand. Like when you think about when you post, like it is game changing for a brand. And there was Sephora, they said when I finally followed up with them, it was like totally that moment of like, I was like, okay, I really feel like they should have emailed me by now. And I finally then was like, fuck it. And I emailed them and they were like, we were just saying that we were having FOMO. And I was like, great. And we started talking again. And it still took months and months of meetings and conversations. And I remember where I was standing. It was maybe April 2020. And I remember Isabella was like hanging off my leg crying. And I got the call. Her name was Averill. Like, honestly, makes me want to cry just talking about it because it was such a moment, saying that we'd gotten into every single Sephora nationwide.
Wow.
And, that obviously like completely changed our trajectory. But the launch kept moving because everyone thought Coke stores were going to open and they didn't. So we were supposed to launch that fall. It ended up being spring 2021. And all of the launches had gotten condensed. So I thought we were like the only brand launching. It's like 10 brands launched at the same time.
Wow.
I've had multiple fundraisers that, similarly like really tough. I'm so thankful. I'm like, I'm never fundraising again. And I don't know. I feel like if I'm having a hard day, I'm like, oh, but I've done all of that. I know that I can do it again if I have to.
I love
But
that.
there's days where I'm like, I don't want to.
Of course. It's like, that's such a great story. So can you just leave us with like, what's next for Saie?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I'm so excited about our new slip tint setting powder. I am a girly that cannot wear powder. It settles into my fine lines. It takes away the glow. It just doesn't work. But then at the same time, you like kind of want something that sets your makeup.
Right.
So our community has been asking about this product forever. We found this technology out of Italy. I just went to visit the manufacturing plant and I sat with the chemist that created the molecular structure of this product. It is wild. We have 2 ingredients that literally fill your fine line before the pigment then goes on top. So it like does the opposite of getting cakey or settling into fine lines. It actually blurs. So it sets and blurs and feels like absolutely nothing because it's baked. I don't know if you know the difference between pressed and baked, but baked is like literally like you put the powder into the oven and it bakes, versus pressed is like a heavy weight condensing the product really, really tight. So
I think that's what I don't like because then I feel cakey.
Yes. And it's so heavy, whereas baked is like, it's like, and the molecule is actually has like all these like little air pockets in it. So feels like nothing, looks like nothing, but does exactly what you want it to do. I feel like it's like a miracle innovation. So that's launching in July.
That's what your makeup artist just put on me, right?
Because and I'm so excited.
I mean, you look at whatever your T-zone is not shiny, but you don't look
setting
cakey.
Powder. And inspired by your favorite product, slip tint. They go perfectly together. Slip tint is very dewy. It's incredibly moisturizing. So slip tint setting powder just locks it in.
It feels like skincare. That is what you do so well. Saie is like, it's like skincare, but makeup.
With just a little bit of pigment.
Yeah. Like it's, I mean, I've been using slip tint. Now I'm going to train myself to say slip tint for so long. And it's because it has SPF in it. And that's what I use as my base. So I don't have to worry about putting on 2 different things. I love to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like any way I can habit stack is how I get it done quickly.
And there's all these ingredients. And that part, like you don't even have to think about, but we have licorice root extract in there that actually brightens your skin. As someone, I was a swimmer and a water polo player, so I am always trying to brighten my skin and get rid of those dark spots. It has hyaluronic acid in, so it's like really, really hydrating your skin, which as a consumer, you don't have to think about that if you don't want to, but as you will feel that, you will feel your skin getting more hydrating and you'll see the brightening over time.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. It's so incredible to see what you build, what you're at, like just the expansion of your team, Saie, and you've just like, you're so strong. You're such a boss and you're so humble, which is such a beautiful combination of, I think, just what it means to be like a powerhouse of a woman, but like not let it go to your head. Because I think one thing is like what's here today could not be here tomorrow. And just like you have so much gratitude
Oh my
for
God,
it?
I'm so grateful. I feel like I'm living the dream. Like, I'm so thankful. I think if anything, I have to be careful because I'm like, oh, I don't want anything to change. But we all know that life has changed. But I like love my team so much. I'm like, no one's ever allowed to go anywhere. But I don't know. I've loved being on this journey with you. Like, we've been like literally in parallel tracks. It's been like so fun to do it together.
I'm so happy to have you here and share your story.
Thank
I hope
you.
it inspires someone out there who has something just like brewing and marinating in their mind and to take the leap because you just never know. Like, look
I know.
what it
I'm
could
so
be.
passionate about helping female founders and female entrepreneurs like figure business out because we deserve a place at the table.
We all do. Has Shop My changed your business? Because I find it so genius, like just being able to link.
We just like scheduled a call with Shop
Oh,
My.
wait, are you not on?
I
Should I
was
not say
in.
that?
No, well,
No, I
everyone's
think
on
you.
Shop My
Yeah,
actually.
like
Like
I've
you linked to.
I've linked to
Yeah,
Shop
for
My.
sure.
Okay.
We don't have like a partnership with them yet, but we will because I feel like Shop My is everyone's talking
It's
about
so
Shop My.
easy.
Meghan Markle linked Glowy Supergel in her Shop My, and I mean that was just wild.
Wow.
Yeah, because she only had like 8 products, like skincare and makeup, and Glowy Supergel was one of them.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, Shop My is great.
Well, I can't wait to see
Yeah,
what else you just keep crushing.
I know. You just keep going, right?
That's what we have to
Sky's
do.
the limit.
Yep. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was
Thank
perfect.
you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.